Let's get your reaction to the verdict of the predecessor on 34 counts. What do you think?
Well, I think it was an excellent verdict. They proved the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt through paperwork.
Were you surprised that everybody basically came in and saying that, as you say, beyond a reasonable doubt, because they had so much information and documentation there that was laid out by uh, the Alvin Braggs and his team.
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
What do I think about it is that the prosecution laid down the evidence and the jury came with the verdict of guilty on 34 counts. And it didn't help that the predecessor was bullying, violating the gag order 14 times, bullying, trying to bully the judge, and intimidating the witnesses and the jury.
It didn't help that he had the behavior and the, like you say, the body language that.
The body language and the behavior that was in a courtroom.
Do you think that might have intimidated the jury, the jurors?
Yeah, that might have also influence as well.
What do you think about having the predecessor only having one person or two people to come up to the stand in his behalf, and then the prosecutor having as many people as they had to come?
And I think that the prosecution had a strong witness, has a strong case. There was nothing to defend, to be honest. Nothing.
Nothing to defend?
Nothing.
You know, what do you think about that last witness? That
was contemptuous right there. That Michael Cohen didn't trust him, and he was right.
He was right, and his behavior kind of got out of.
His was gangster-like behavior. It sounded like the Godfather and Sopranos type of mentality.
Godfathers and Sopranos. Do you think that the predecessor micromanaged his team?
He does. He did micromanage it. He lied so many times it was not even funny.
You know, would you think of all people on 34 counts, and with the prosecution taking a step-by-step procedure, making sure that it was an inclusive environment. He had visual aids there and, abstract information for those, he had a technique where people could see kind of both sides, give both views, So what do you think? Did that work in the behalf of the prosecution?
And it worked on the behalf of the prosecution's favor on this one.
Because he went back over all
went back over all the documents. You didn't have to believe the characters of David Pecker or Michael Cohen or things like that. You had corroborating witnesses to go along with what they were saying.
But the majority of the people that testified against the predecessor was
Trump's people.
No, was his people.
Was his people because the predecessor did not pay people very well. The other moral of the story is to pay your people well and to treat them with respect, because you never know when you're going to need them.
And his own words.
In his own words.
His books,
which he didn't written, stiffed him.
So he had all this money, and people didn't, back him because they were never
they were never paid what they owe.
Okay. And so in other countries, like in Brazil, can you elaborate on how they treated their presidents?
In Brazil, if you're accused or guilty of crime, you go to jail. Like currently, Jair Bolsonaro is being held in court right now for what he did after the election in Brazil and the COVID violations and falsifying COVID documents when he was president in Brazil.
And what other president is being held?
The other president that was held accountable was Nicolas Sarkozy of France, of corruption. So if France and Brazil is part of the founding of the BRICS nations, if they can hold people accountable, we should as well.
Do you think that it's fair that the justice have jumped in and is trying to give the predecessor immunity by backing him?
It is not fair. No, not fair. It is immoral. It's not. I don't use the word fair because nothing is really fair.
Okay.
I would say more immoral to be honest.
Do you feel that they should recuse themselves from?
They should not only recuse themselves, they should resign. They should resign. They have disgraced the Supreme Court. Alito, Thomas, they need to resign. Forget about recusing themselves.
Okay. And so what do you think about Kagan? Is it,
I think the three good...
Cannon.
Eileen Cannon, she needs to be disbarred. She needs to go as well. She has shown bias towards Donald Trump, the predecessor, that appointed her to that position.
Okay. So do you think coming in that one of the rules should be that they should not have like a lifetime?
They should not have a lifetime position in the court. No lifetime positions in the court, because you don't have a lifetime when you have a regular job. In the old days, you worked maybe 40 to 50 years. But today's age, there should be no lifetime appointments. Lifetime appointments was gone with the boomer generation.
They showed in Chicago, they were asking people on the street what their feelings were, giving reactions to what this verdict was in Chicago, and just different, municipalities, different cities around the world. The world is watching. So what do you think for as how other countries or other cities will view this verdict today?
Other countries will look at us and say, if you let the president even get elected, even despite having a convicted felon, it's going to be really shameful. It's going to be really shameful. And they would not only laugh at us, and we Americans would be filled with shame.
Just recently I saw something where they're saying that they're taking the businesses out of New York, and that one of the people that was taking his business out was Grant Cardone.
No, I can't stand Grant Cardone. Oh, you mean the same Grant Cardone that said that if you are a failure as a man, if you make less than $400,000, that's the same Grant Cardone.
So basically, Grant Cardone's, maybe his motive is different. He's more about money than democracy, right?
He is one of those guys that is motivated more about money than he is about democracy. Yes, he don't care about human rights at all. Or he don't care about the republic or democracy. He cares about how much money can I make today? And what rules can I break or get rid of so I can make more profits? That is the guy. He is the antithesis of greed is good type of character.
And he's weighing his money against what Elon Musk has.
Yeah, what Elon Musk have. It's like showing you how much more money did I can.
Do you think that this is a driving force for as Trump getting, reelected, or what do you think?
What it's actually going to do is it actually may even help him. He's using it and helping him.
It may actually help him.
It may actually help him.
So that means that our country don't give a
They don't give a care. They don't give a care, because this is similar to 1940s with Adolf Hitler. In the 1940s, when most Germans did not give a care. And businesses said, we can control Adolf Hitler if he was German chancellor. And guess what happened? World War II happened. We might have to see World War III. If this continues, we're going to see World War III, and people don't even pay attention.
Do you think that Trump is, that the predecessor is playing the martyr?
Not only he's going to play the martyr, it might work with the third of the base, and with the way the Electoral College work. He is actually leading in several states necessary for him to win the presidency. If it was just the vote with no Electoral College, the predecessor would have lost easily. Easily.
Well, they don't have the information. What I was saying to you earlier is that there is no documentation. Once again, we're going back to documentation. That, they may say he's leading. That's what, that's what they might be putting out there to boost.
But where's the documentation?
Where's the documentation? Basically?
But sometimes you can listen to people on the street, and that can also be documentation as well. It's listening to the people.
But a lot of people not even paying attention.
And a lot of people ain't even paying attention and don't even care. They're thinking about, where's my job? Where is my money? That's all they're thinking about. And they're looking for a savior. If I don't lose my job and my savior, they're looking for a savior so I can get my job back. That's all they think about. They talk about it in their own economic and their own self-interest. They're not looking at it in terms of democracy or saving our republic or the world.
So the bottom line is character. Let's go back to the character. Here we have somebody that has shown the world that he only is, for himself, and does really not have a plan for the people because he was in
He
office.
has no plan for the people. He don't care about the people. And who taught him this? Who? And the only other question we have to: who taught the predecessor that made him where he is? It started with his grandfather that was kicked out of Germany because he did not serve in the military. It also started with Fred Trump, that was a Ku Klux Klansman that denied black people rent. So who really? And it also started with Roy Cohn as well.
So you think that, he feels that he's being persecuted by,
Yeah, just by the Justice Department. And guess what? His hatred for the Justice Department began back in 1972 under the Richard Nixon administration that found him liable and guilty for discriminating against minorities. And then Trump sued the Justice Department for $100 million. $100 million.
did he win?
No, he didn't win, but that was the beginning of how he had that hatred for the Justice Department.
And what do you think his hatred meter is today?
It's astronomical. Oh, it's astronomical.
Astronomical?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's going to be revenge because if he wins, it will be a revenge tour.
And many people are saying if he wins, that'll be the only president from this day.
From this day. And let's just say that he passes on. Then it's going to be the family. Don Jr., Ivanka.
Wow. So on that note, how would you like to wrap this up? What is your last words?
My last word is for the lessons of this. Look to yourself. Do not look to outside people like a Michael Cohen. When Michael Cohen looked at Donald Trump as like the predecessor, as like a father figure, they led him to hell and just threw him away like trash. And Michael Cohen went to jail for 3 years for the predecessor and lost his family and his freedom for 3 years. So be careful who your friends are and who you hang out with. Because if you don't, it can lead you to jail or it can lead you to losing your freedom or your life. Choose your friends and your mentors wisely. That's number one.
Also, a question that I got to ask is, do you think that that the predecessor might have played too much of a role in giving advice in his own case?
Yes, you do. Well, yes, he has. You don't just strategize for the defense when it happens. If you're a defendant in a court case and you're thinking about to put your freedom, don't even talk to the press. Let the lawyers do the work and you just do nothing. That's the best you can do in a situation like this.
And Alvin Braggs, how do you think that he carried out his case?
He carried it out very professionally, like Robert Mueller, like Jack Smith. He didn't talk that much. He carried it out professionally. He handled it with class, with dignity, and professionalism.
And how do you think Judge Michon?
He handled it with strong grace. And he's from Columbia as well, Judge Michon, another golden nugget. He is also a mental health judge as well. He handled it with care and professionalism.
Okay. And before we get out of here, I noticed that Joy Reid mentioned, and she basically said that Trump, it might be the hardest blow that he's being
held accountable by the people that he despised the most, which was women, especially black people.
Mm-hmm. And he's being held accountable by
Alvin Braggs, Letitia James, Fonnie Willis.
And is it one more? The Judge Michon.
Josh Michon, that's a Hispanic. Mm-hmm. Blacks and Hispanics that the predecessor hated, he's held accountable by those people. Those are the ones that are held responsible, not the rich folks. The average people is the one that held him responsible and accountable. And that's why the Republicans want to get rid of DEI, because they don't want to broaden the law.
All right. So anything else you want to say before you're out of here?
Before we're out of here, that's what we're going to be learning about what is intentional. The predecessor behavior was intentional. A lot of people with unique abilities behavior, like me, is unintentional. Because if the predecessor win and if the Republicans get back in power, the gap between intentional and unintentional behavior will close. And the unintentional will be paying the price.
So basically, they sending a message saying that you can do anything and you can even be wrong.
You can even be wrong as long as you're on my side, or as long as you got predecessor money, Elon Musk money, or Grant Cardone money.
All right. So on that note,
on that note, we are out of here.